Hello, my name is the Fat C, and welcome to the Stop Everything Because What We're Doing is More Important Than What You're Doing radio show. Today, we have many important things to talk about, and helping me today is the Chris Bumstead and little Matt Coleman.
Hi, I'm Chris. Hi, I'm Matt.
So, down to business. The first thing we will be discussing is the Chicago Bears. This 1933 season was the Bears' 14th in the NFL and the 11th season under their head coach, George Halas. They were able to improve their 7-1-6 record in 1932 and finished with a 10-2-1 record. Then after, they went on to win the 1933 NFL Super Bowl. So guys, what do you think about the Bears this current season?
I think they're a solid organization. I think they have potential and a lot of room for improvement this season. We'll see how they do. Just going off what Chris said, I think there's a lot of young talents on this team, I think they're able to do very well this season. Let's see how they perform.
Thank you guys for your opinions. Those were very valid. Now we're going to transfer over to my boy Chris Bumstead. Chris?
Thanks, Carter. Now I'm going to be talking about the Glass-Steagall Banking Act. And what that is, it is a forced commercial banks to stop banking investment activities to protect people's money from money getting lost, which was caused by bank involvement in stocks. Glass-Steagall was the safety precaution to prevent a repeat of the 1929 stock market crash. At the time, the involvement of banks in the stock markets was seen by many as the main culprit of the stock crash. It was believed that commercial banks took too many risks with depositors' money, so they loaned it off to people who could pay the money back. That money was lost forever, which led to the Great Depression that we are now in. Now to Matt Coleman with the story on his new book that's taken America by storm, Of Mice and Men. Thank you, Chris. Of Mice and Men is a book written by John Steinbeck that was published in 1937. This tells the story of George Milton and Lenny Small. These are two migrant ranch workers who keep moving from place to place in California in search of new jobs in the United States Great Depression. Do you guys have any opinions on this book? I think it shows the great state of what America is like right now and how people are trying to find jobs and get to new places.
Now time for my opinion. So basically, I think it is a very excellent representation of the American dream. And what that is honestly freedom. You have the freedom to make money and a lot of it. And what they want for their dream is to own a ranch with tons and tons of rabbits, and they go on all these adventures, and Lenny is so dumb that he gets in trouble for things because he doesn't know how the world works. And I think that might get him in trouble later in the book.
Alright, is that all we have to say?
I do think so.
Alright, after a brief word from our sponsor, we will have a new guest on the show, Father Coughlin. Alright, now we'll give it over to our friends at Heinz.
Their ketchup's coming out a lot slower than ours does.
That's not good manners. Oh, you noticed our Heinz. Here, taste it. Anticipation. Anticipation is making me wait.
Best ketchup I ever tasted.
That's pouring it on a little thick.
Yeah.
Thick, rich Heinz ketchup. The taste.
I'm Carter, and I'm joined today by Father Coughlin. Hello, Father.
Hello, Carter, and glad to be on the show.
So, you're a priest and you preach on the radio, is that true?
Yes, I preach the Word of God on the radio for all to hear.
So, when did you first start preaching?
I first took the airwaves in 1926, broadcasting weekly sermons over the radio.
So, what have you been talking about recently? I've heard you've been switching it up.
Yes, the content of my broadcasts have shifted from theology to economics and to politics.
So, why exactly did you switch from subject to subject and curve off of your usual Christianity?
Of course, just as the rest of the nation was obsessed with economic and political matters in the aftermath of the Depression, so too was I.
And I also heard that you have your own idea on what social justice is. Would you mind elaborating more on that?
Of course, I began began as an early Roosevelt supporter, coining on a famous expression that the nation's choice was between Roosevelt or ruin. Later in the 1930s, I turned against FDR and became one of the president's harshest critics. His program of social justice was a very radical challenge to capitalism.
Thank you so much, Father, for those words. Now we have a special guest speaker that my buddy Chris is going to interview, Amelia Earhart.
I'm Chris now, joined by a special guest, Amelia Earhart. Amelia, what can you tell me about the profession?
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show, Chris. I'm an American aviator. That's my profession.
Now, you say the word aviator. Can you explain to the people listening what that means?
Oh, yeah, of course. The word aviator means a pilot or someone who flies planes.
Thank you. Now in your life, you've broken many incredible records. Can you tell us what record you're most proud of?
Yeah, Chris, out of all my records, I would probably have to say my favorite is the feminine speed record. I just really enjoy the thrill of going fast.
Do you remember the date you broke that record?
Not quite sure, but I believe it was in 1930.
Thank you, Amelia. But it looks like that's all we have in this time segment. Now on to our next segment, court packing.
Got it. On February 5th, 1937, President Franklin Roosevelt announces a plan to expand the Supreme Court to as many as 15 judges, allegedly to make it more efficient. Critics immediately charged that Roosevelt was trying to pack the court and thus neutralize Supreme Court justices hostile to his New Deal. During the previous 2 years, the High Court had struck down several key pieces of New Deal legislation under the belief that the laws delegated an unconstitutional amount of authority to the executive branch and the federal government. Flustered with his landslide re-election in 1936, President Roosevelt issued a proposal in February of 1937 to provide retirement at full pay for all members of the court over 70. If a justice refused to retire, an assistant with full voting rights was able to be appointed, thus guaranteeing Roosevelt a liberal majority. Most Republicans and many Democrats in Congress opposed the so-called court packing plan. But up next, we have a song that I'm sure most of you have heard, Over the Rainbow by Yip Harburg, performed by your own Chris Bumstead and Matt Coleman. Take it away, boys. Now.
Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, birds fly over the rainbow. Why then, oh why can't I? Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, birds fly over the rainbow. Why then, why can't I? If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why, oh why can't I?
Thank you guys for that delightful music to my ears. You guys should go public, make your own songs, create your own record label, because that was art. Up next, I will be discussing the Hindenburg disaster. We have breaking news. The Hindenburg disaster. The Hindenburg disaster was an airship accident that occurred on May 6, 1937 in Manchester Township, New Jersey. The German passenger airship was a German commercial passenger carrying airship. the lead ship of the Hindenburg class, the longest of flying machines, and the largest airship by envelope volume. Some people even would call this machine a Zeppelin or a blimp. It was designed and built by the Zeppelin Company and was operated by the German Zeppelin Airline Company. So it's like an early Southwest or Delta Airlines. It was named after Field Marshal Paul von Hindenburg, who was president of Germany from 1925 until his death in 1934. It caught fire and was destroyed during its attempt to dock with its mooring mast at Naval Air Station Leuchars. This accident caused 35 fatalities, 13 passengers, and 22 crewmen from the 97 people on board. An additional fatality and also one fatality on the ground as well. And I believe we also have the footage or the sound of the actual Hindenburg crashing. So if you could just play that, that'd be great. Now on some lighter news, we have an interview with Walt Disney.
Oh, Walt, how are you doing today? I'm doing great, and thanks for having me on the show. Of course. Walt, so what inspired you to create Disney? The idea of this Disneyland came to me while watching my two daughters ride the carousel in LA Griffin's Park. There I began to imagine a clean, safe, friendly place where parents and children could have fun together and create lasting memories for generations to come. Oh yeah, that sounds great, Walt. Who was the, sorry, I'm having a brain freeze here. Who was the first ever character that you made? Well, most of them at home might think the first character I made was Mickey Mouse, but before Mickey Mouse, there was his predecessor.
Walt. Predecessor.
Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. I didn't get successful off of Oswald, so I moved on to Mickey Mouse. Oh, that's neat. So what was the first cartoon film that you ever made, Walt? The first cartoon I ever made was Steamboat Willie. I made it in 1928, and it's made in black and white. It's the movie where it's Mickey whistling on a boat, and the intro for a lot of Disney animated movies, and it's this sound.
Shh, guys, stop.
Okay.
I would just like to thank the people at home for listening to the Stop Everything Because What We're Doing Is More Important Than What You're Doing radio show. And I'm sure I speak on behalf of everyone when I say thank you for all the love and support that we've gotten over these past few years during the Great Depression. Guys?
Thank you. Yep, thank you. It's been an honor.
And that is the Stop Everything Because What We're Doing Is More Important Than What You're Doing radio show. Signing off. See you in the next one.